Eskom has agreed to a 7% annual increase for all non-managerial employees. This is after the power utility reached an agreement with major trade unions. The latest wage agreement will run over the next 3 years. Joining us is Hlathi Madela, Executive Director of the SA Energy Forum. Hlathi, appreciate your time this afternoon. Now, that 7% wage agreement, including increase for non-managerial employees for 7% over the next 3 years, how do you believe this will raise positive impact, rather, on employee morale and motivation?
Good afternoon to you, Yoko, and to your listeners. It's a welcome increase. It is a bold step, and we appreciate the government looking after the men and women who've been brutalized by the previous management, who didn't want to give them their rights. We're happy for the people of Eskom, and we're happy that this coincides with a good performance that we're seeing. Hopefully that performance will be sustained.
Now, the issue that arises is Eskom's financial challenges, such as rolling blackouts and so on. Is this the right thing for them to get a 7% increase?
Eskom's got a lot of input costs, ranging from the fuel, ranging from the procurement of spares, procurement of goods, procurement of coal, the contracts that they sign with the service providers, with everybody else. The people who matter the most is the human capital. It's the people who are manning those machines. So we know Eskom has signed the wrong contracts. Eskom is overpaying for other services and for commodities like coal. The people must leave the workers. They are entitled to the 10,000 increase plus a 7% increase on their housing allowance. They are at work as we speak. They are preparing to go to work tomorrow. They get subjected to the same increases that all of us get subjected to. It's none of their making. It's the bad decisions that were made by management. We celebrate these men and women being given their rights to get an increase.
Now, that wage agreement also includes a 7% increase in the housing allowance over a 3-year period. So let's talk a little bit about that motivation and the importance of looking after Eskom employees, I suppose in relation to some of the challenges that we've been having around load shedding, and much of that being attributed to sabotage. Do you expect that moving forward that the morale, or certainly that many of these Eskom employees will hold their fellow colleagues to account?
Absolutely. It's something that we should expect. It's something that I would expect. But it is also something that we South Africans must make a call to the men and women at Eskom, those ones who've been indulging in overpricing contracts and sabotage for whatever reason, to say, take the 10,000 that you're going to see reporting in your payslip before deductions. Of course, it will be an equivalent of about 7,000 rand more that they are going to take home. Take that and trade it off for all these shenanigans that you've been indulging in. Look yourself as being blessed that you've got a job. Refrain from collaborating with the people that are sabotaging. So it is something really that I would say those people must take it as a positive, and they must be motivated, those who've been doing bad things, to stop and appreciate this.
So let's talk about recent events. Andre de Ruyter leaving a few months ago, a new electricity minister. Do you suspect that this has contributed to this about turn, if you will, certainly in the fact that wage negotiations have not been prolonged, and that the people of Eskom, if you will, the employees of Eskom, are happy with this 7%?
They're more than happy. They've been happy before this increase. One of the things that made them happy was being told that the coal power stations that they are currently where they are currently employed, we started hearing messages that not all of them were going to be decommissioned at the time that the government had agreed to. Now the government has been strengthening its voice. It has now come out and said it is completely going to put on hold complete decommissioning of those power stations. So those people are assured of their employment, and therefore those are what were getting attempted to steal because they were thinking, my power station is next, maybe I should steal as much as I can. Now they are assured that your power station is going to be there for the next 10 years. So it serves as a huge motivation, and the people now are celebrating a second positive result after the departure of those two, that not only our coal power stations are going to be retained, but we are being rewarded with an increase. And there should be more incentives. If they can completely eliminate load shedding, they must be rewarded accordingly.
So let's talk about fair compensation and how crucial it is in attracting and retaining staff. One of the things that we've heard is that Eskom has lost many able men and women. Do we now expect a change in this? Do we expect retention? In fact, do we expect some of those former Eskom employees that are so needed to come back?
No, I wouldn't say I expect them to come back, because those ones that left, they left for far too more than the government can pay them. I think what we need to do is hope that this is going to motivate other people who are working elsewhere, like Sasol and other entities, to begin to say, well, maybe I should also go and help at Eskom, because at least people are treated fairly now. But really the people that left, it's people that left for far too more, what you call compensation than Eskom would be able to keep. And that was also overplayed. Not many people left Eskom. People were demoralized. People were being accused of wrong things. People were told, you are running 15 power stations, all of them don't matter. They are going to be closed down. You are going to be replaced with the IPPs. People don't even know what IPPs are, but they get told they are going to be replaced. They never saw management. So this whole thing that a lot of expertise left us on is overplayed. It's a lie. The people are there. They just need to be motivated, and they just need to be told that their coal power stations are not going to be closed down.
Now, I asked you a question a little while ago, Hlathi, around the departure of Andre de Ruyter and obviously the introduction of the new electricity minister, and asked about the implications that it's had on the management at Eskom. I don't think I got an answer. But you are suggesting that there's a new look at things at the moment by Eskom staff and management. And my question is, what has brought that about in the last few weeks or months, if you will?
It's knowing that my job is guaranteed. It's knowing that the power station where I'm working at, if I'm able to communicate properly what are the issues, they are going to be listened to. One of the things that comes out from this recent improvement that we see, they are now again centralizing the procurement. In other words, if there is a major valve that breaks down, no one is going to say, well, you go to any power station that the unit is off and strip it and bring it back here. There is more control now. You're going to have to account for the replacement of a valve. If you go to Duva Unit 3 and strip off that valve because there's a valve missing in Madela, Bheki Khumalo says, no, let's go back to the system of SEP. You put a code of this item, it gets approved. There's all the approvals of the equipment and the components that go there. So during Gerata's time, people were desperate. People had to do anything because, according to Andy Gerata, the coal power station didn't exist. He had other ideas, he had other things that he was busy with. So one of the major things we are hearing now, there's going to be a centralization of the procurement of the very same spares and components that Eskom needs. It's not going to be a field day where everybody just do as they please. And this is helping because it makes the head of generation and the CEO of Eskom be able to plan. They are celebrating one of the units that they've brought back. One of the reasons for that was they knew what needed to be replaced. Now those units are back. They're also prioritizing the others because now there's more determination to account how much damage has been done on what components needs to be replaced. Whereas with anti-derate, it was a dying horse. It doesn't matter where you strip, it doesn't matter where you replace. I'm not looking at that, I'm looking at other things. See how you sort yourself out with that. That was the attitude.
Interesting. Now, some economists have expressed concern that the Eskom wage agreement diverts resources away from addressing critical infrastructure and maintenance needs. What are your thoughts and how do you respond to that argument?
They're talking about, they are lying. They say Eskom has been given an increase that is more than the inflation. I had to just quickly Google here. The inflation is at 7%. And Eskom guys were offered 7% plus a 10,000 rand once off. So, I don't know, I'm not an economist, but I just think that there is this expectation that Eskom people, they must just work without being compensated because supposedly Eskom is load shedding the country. Unfortunately, for these economists, they must start with themselves. They must tell us, why are the mine bosses earning over 200 million rand one person? They must look at the private sector. They must not always attack our people that are working for the public. The people who work for the public, they breathe the same air. They've got the same needs like all of us. Where you work right now, you want to have an increase next year. Why, when these things are applied to Eskom, and even if they are both on the line of the inflation rate, people just make noise? I think there's this hatred for the people of Eskom that they don't deserve anything. They deserve everything that comes their way, especially now that they are responding to bring back the power stations and arrest this load shedding, like we said. Move under the radar, bring the other management that is going to motivate these people, and these people will be motivated. And that's exactly what we are seeing. So now the economists are saying you are wrong to motivate them. You are wrong to give them an increase. What do they want them to be giving them? Zero increase. Like under the rate and Pagamani did, which resulted in this situation of theft and sabotage. You can't have people stealing from their own company. That means they are desperate. That means they are panicking. The question is, who's making them desperate? Who's making them panic? It's management of the rater. Now it's gone. You've got a management that says, this is your future. This is your company. You are here to stay. Of course, the people must stop sabotaging and stop stealing, and they must celebrate giving an increase.
Hlathi Madela, Executive Director at SA Energy Forum, speaking positively about that 7% increase awarded to Eskom employees.